Hi guys, it's PK here. Hope you're doing really well. It's super windy here in Brisbane today, so I'm inside. And I'm going to talk about today the 3 reasons why you need to have a property investor mindset. You need to understand property investment even before you buy your principal place of residence. So I know many of you are looking to buy your principal place of residence, not your investment properties, but you have a plan that in the future you want to buy properties for investment purposes. That's not right now. Right now you're just focusing on buying a principal place of residence, an owner-occupier property for yourself. And here are the 3 reasons why you actually need to think ahead, and you need to think ahead with an investment mindset even when buying your principal place of residence, your own home to live in right now. So the first reason is capital growth. Okay, so of course, if you only want to buy your principal place of residence and really never move out of it, or never seek to refinance it, or never seek to start a property investment or portfolio, then this is less important. But if you have aspirations to become a property investor, then even if you are buying to live in right now, you need to put capital growth right at the top of your priority list when it comes to finding the best place to live, right? And now, of course, if you're looking to buy to live, I'm sure you'll have some emotional drawings towards a particular location, particular suburbs, good schools, a particular part of town, where your community is, where your friends live, all that sort of thing. But I encourage you that in the area that you're happy to live in, optimize for the best suburb, okay? So buying a suburb that grows by even 1% more percent in growth every year for 10 or 15 years is the equivalent of hundreds of thousands of dollars, okay? So even if you have 2 suburbs, even if they're within a 5-kilometer radius of each other, one grows at 1% more growth rate every year versus the other, that impacts your overall profit or equity by hundreds of thousands of dollars over the long term because of compounding, right? That's how compounding growth works. So it's so important that you find the best capital growth suburb even if you're looking to live in there, because in the future, in a year, 6 months, 2 years, maybe 5 years, you want to refinance that house and use that equity to start a multiple property portfolio. And if you think about that now, then you'll not have to draw upon your savings to start your investment portfolio. You can just refinance your main house, your owner occupier, to commence the journey. There's so many people out there that have done this really well, and they end up buying 5-6 properties, and it's not from their savings that they're contributing the deposit. It's really just through the equity in their own home, and they're not having to wait 5-6 years to do this. Okay, so think of it like a Venn diagram. So one circle here where you actually want to live, and another circle here where there are good capital growth suburbs. So you want to find that middle ground. Sorry, it's a bit weird with my hands. But 2 circles, find the intersect. That's where you should be buying. Don't ignore data. Don't ignore the main contributors of capital growth. We can predict this, and it's not predicted through proximity to schools or CBD or parks or shopping centers, right? You need to look at data to predict where the best capital growth suburbs will be, and that's objective without opinion. So that's number 1 reason why you should have an investment mindset even when buying an owner-occupier home for yourself. The second reason is that if you do have aspirations to become a property investor down the line, then when you're buying your own home to live in, think about whether you want to be a passive investor or an active investor. If in the future you want to be able to fast track your property investment journey, then it's a good idea in your own occupier, in your principal place of residence, to buy something that has potential for value add. Now, whether that's a case of buying a relatively old home, not that it's not habitable, but a relatively old home that you can cosmetically renovate and increase value. You know, I'm talking put in $20,000, increase the value by $70,000, $80,000, that in the future will allow you to start your property investment journey. Or maybe you want to have potential for granny flat, so side access and in the right council, so you can put a granny flat at the back of that house. And you may want to move out of that house at some point, and now all of a sudden it's become a really high yielding property that will enhance your borrowing capacity and allow you to buy 6 more investment properties as opposed to just 3 or 4 more investment properties. Okay, or you might want subdivision potential. So I know you're living in this house right now, that's what you want to do, but in 5 years' time when you want to start your property journey, or in a year's time when you want to start your property journey, you want to have something that can be subdivided, and that way you can get some early runs on the board by subdividing it and then selling that vacant block of land and having chunk equity, you know, $200,000-$300,000 you have to play with. Or you can build on top and keep both for additional equity and rental income. It's really up to you, but those decisions should start now. Or you may want to take an even more high-risk strategy and actually develop, where you're finding a site that you're going to live in for the meantime, but in the future you can actually subdivide and build townhouses on, 3 or 4 townhouses, and that will really spearhead your property investment journey, and you'll be miles ahead of other property investors who bought their principal place of residence out of emotion without thinking of these investment considerations. So that's the second thing that you need to be mindful of if you are looking to buy your own home to live in but want to become a property investor in the future. The third thing is lending. So look, as a principal place of residence, it's really easy to not think about lending too much. You know, we'll just put down as much money as we have and as much money as we have towards the deposit to reduce the mortgage and pay less interest. But if you have aspirations to become a property investor in 6 months' time, or a year's time, or 2 years' time, or 3 years' time, even though you're buying your principal place of residence now, it may make sense to actually counterintuitively keep your principal place of residence as that's my son, as a interest-only loan, okay? And what that will allow you to do is not pay additional interest because of a huge mortgage, because you have all those surplus funds in an offset account, okay? But this way, you have an interest-only loan and you have liquid cash that you can use to invest in your first investment property, in your second investment property, in your third investment property. It's a good idea to have an offset account as opposed to a redraw account, okay? Because if you're paying down your mortgage or you're putting money in a redraw account, your access to that cash is in the control of the bank. They can say, yes, we'll give you access to it, or depending on your income situation, they may say, no, we won't give you access to it. So it's a good idea, if you want to become a property investor in the future, to at least consider not paying principal and interest and not paying as much of the house down as possible of your owner occupier, your principal place of residence. That doesn't mean we're increasing the amount of interest we're paying, because we'll just park all the surplus funds that we have in an offset account, and that gives us so much more opportunity and liquidity and flexibility to then start our property investment journey when we want to. Okay, so those are the 3 things that you should invest in right now in your education, so that you can buy your principal place of residence with the pursuit, or with the idea of fast-tracking your investment property journey when it is that you want to start that as well. Okay, the 2 aren't mutually exclusive. So the first thing is capital growth, right? The Venn diagram, buy in an area where the data suggests there will be capital growth and you actually want to live there as well. The second thing was buy something with some value add potential, because that will help your property investment journey when it comes to that, if and when you move out, etc. And the third thing is lending. Okay, have a really hard think about it. If you really do want to start your property investment journey, don't put all your money into your principal place of residence. Keep it in an offset account and have that money ready to go when it comes to buying your investment properties. Again, your investment properties will pay your principal place of residence down. The market, the capital growth of your investment properties in 5-10 years will be able to be extracted to pay down that bad debt in your principal place of residence. There's no point putting your hard-earned money into that. Okay, so hopefully that was useful. If it was, then just give me a like or love below, just so I can see that, yeah, you are actually getting value out of this. And if you do want to learn about these three things amongst others, then get in touch. You know, it's not only useful to learn about property markets, capital growth, negotiation, strategy development if you're looking to buy an investment property, but also when you're looking to buy a principal place of residence if you want to generate passive income from property investment in the future. Okay, so get in touch. My name's PK. I'll put a link up or below. If you want to learn more about that, get in touch. Otherwise, just feel free to comment and I can just answer your questions as well. Guys, have a great day. Catch you. Bye.